Hi, my name is David, and I'm 65 years old. The day I buried my wife, I thought the worst pain was over, but I was wrong. Just hours after laying her to rest, my daughter-in-law looked at me coldly and said, "You don't belong here anymore." With my bag in hand and nowhere to go, I realized I had lost everything, my wife, my home, and my family. Before I tell you how I went from being homeless to finding a way to change everything, I want to ask you, what would you do if your own family threw you out just after you lost the person you loved the most? Let me know in the comments, and also tell me which city and country you're watching from, so I can thank you personally. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more true stories like this. Before my wife Emily passed, my life was simple. We lived together in a modest house that echoed with her laughter, her cooking, her quiet humming as she tended to the flowers in the yard. We had one son, Mark, who had married Lisa nearly 10 years ago. Lisa and I, well, we never really saw eye to eye. She was polite enough when Emily was around, but there was always a wall between us. She thought I was old-fashioned, and I thought she was too cold, too proud for her own good. Still, for Emily's sake, I kept the peace. Everything changed when Emily fell ill. I watched the woman I had loved for 40 years grow weaker each day, and there was nothing I could do but sit by her bedside and hold her hand. Mark visited when he could, but Lisa rarely came into the room. She stayed in the kitchen, scrolling on her phone or talking about how expensive treatment was getting. When Emily took her last breath, a piece of me went with her. After the funeral, the house felt empty, like a shell. Her favorite chair sat by the window untouched. The smell of her perfume still lingered in the hallway. That evening, I sat in silence at the dining table, staring at my plate. That's when Lisa walked in. She didn't sit. She just stood there, her arms crossed, her face like stone. "You can't stay here anymore, David," she said flatly. "This is our house now. You need to pack your things and find somewhere else." I was stunned. "Lisa, this was Emily's home." "My home," she shrugged. "Emily is gone. And this isn't good for Mark. You staying here, it's too heavy. We need to move on." Mark stood behind her, silent, his eyes cast down. He didn't defend me. He didn't say a word. My hands trembled as I packed a small bag. Every step I took through that house felt like saying goodbye to Emily all over again. By the time I reached the front door, the sun had set. I stepped into the cold night, carrying only a few clothes and Emily's favorite photo in my pocket. As I walked down the street, my heart heavy and my future uncertain, I had no idea that this cruel night would lead to something far greater than I could imagine. The first night after I left the house, I had nowhere to go. I walked for hours, my breath fogging in the cold air until my legs gave out. I sat on a park bench, clutching Emily's photo to my chest. The world felt quiet, uncaring. I barely slept, and by morning I was stiff and chilled to the bone. My savings were small, but I managed to rent a tiny room above an old grocery store. It smelled of damp wood and dust, but it was shelter. I spent my days walking through town, thinking of Emily, wondering what she would say if she saw me now. Would she be angry at Lisa, at Mark, or just sad that the family she loved had turned me out? One afternoon, as I passed by my old house, I saw movers carrying boxes out. Lisa stood in the driveway, laughing on the phone, looking as if she hadn't just destroyed my world days ago. My stomach turned as I spotted one of the boxes. It was Emily's jewelry box. The one she had treasured since we were married. I wanted to march right up and demand answers, but Mark came out and stood beside Lisa, smiling as though nothing had happened. I couldn't face them, not yet. My grief was too raw, my anger too deep. That night, back in my room, I decided I couldn't live like this, cut off from the life Emily and I had built. Something had to change. Days turned into weeks, and my money ran thin. I ate one meal a day, sometimes less. My hands, once strong, now shook from hunger. I started taking odd jobs, sweeping floors, fixing fences, just to afford rent. Everywhere I went, I heard whispers about Lisa selling Emily's things, her jewelry, her china, even the rocking chair she used to sit in every evening. The pain was unbearable. Every item sold felt like losing Emily all over again. One rainy evening I bumped into Clara, an old family friend. She looked shocked to see me soaked and exhausted. "David, why aren't you at home?" she asked. When I told her what happened, her face hardened. "David, Emily told me before she died that she updated her will. She said she wanted you to be protected." Her words struck me like lightning. Emily had left me something. I hadn't seen any papers after her death. Lisa had handled everything. That night, I couldn't sleep. I replayed Clara's words over and over. If Emily had left something for me, and Lisa hid it, then this was more than cruelty. It was betrayal. The next morning, I visited an old friend of mine, Mr. Harris, a retired lawyer. I told him everything. He listened quietly, then said, "David, if Emily's will was changed, we can find it. If Lisa hid it, that's illegal. We can challenge it." My heart pounded. "But I have nothing left, Harris. I can't fight her." He smiled faintly. "You still have the truth, and I'll help you." Together, we went to the records office and requested a copy of Emily's will. My hands shook as I opened it. There it was, in black ink. Emily had left me joint ownership of the house and her personal savings. Lisa had no right to throw me out or sell anything. It felt like Emily's voice reached across time to give me strength. Mr. Harris helped me prepare legal documents to reclaim what was mine. We waited for the right moment. Lisa and Mark were planning a family dinner to celebrate selling the house. That would be the night I walked back into my home and faced them. For the first time since Emily died, I felt something powerful rise in me, not grief, not despair, but resolve. The night of the family dinner, I stood outside my old house, my heart pounding like a drum. Laughter spilled out of the windows, Lisa's voice loudest of all. I took a deep breath and stepped inside. The room went silent. Lisa froze mid-laugh, her smile dropping. "What are you doing here?" she hissed. Mark looked shocked, but I didn't flinch. "I'm here because this is still my house." I placed the legal papers on the dining table. Mr. Harris, standing beside me, spoke firmly. "According to Emily Thompson's will, David retains joint ownership of this property and is entitled to stay. Furthermore, the sale of her personal belongings without his consent was unlawful." Mark's face turned pale. Lisa's lips trembled as she tried to speak. "That can't be—" "It is," Mr. Harris interrupted. "You could face legal action if you continue to ignore this." For once, Lisa had nothing to say. The room stayed quiet except for the ticking of the clock on the wall. Mark finally spoke, his voice low. "Dad, I'm sorry." I looked at him, my chest tight. "I lost your mother, Mark. I won't lose my dignity too." Within a week, Lisa moved out, and Mark made arrangements for me to recover what was left of Emily's things. But instead of staying in that house, I chose something new, a small, peaceful cottage outside town. Bought with my rightful share of Emily's savings, Mark began visiting me often, helping me fix up the place. Slowly, our relationship started to heal. One quiet evening, I placed Emily's framed photo on the mantel of my new home. The sunset cast a warm glow across her face. "We're home again, my love," I whispered. For the first time since she passed, I felt at peace. If you were in my place, would you fight for your rights or walk away? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more true emotional stories that remind us to never stop standing up for ourselves.